Lieutenant Colonel Moodley.
Just read that entire sentence then, please.
All right, Commissioner. In 2020, both Lieutenant Colonel Moodley and I temporarily transferred from Financial Investigation Organized Crime as part of a duty arrangement done by provincial management.
Investigation to organized crime. You again skipped the two. Thank you.
Okay.
Please continue. I think you started, sorry.
Before that, you say you were temporarily transferred from financial investigations to organized crime. And then what happens? You're there for how long? And after that, where do you go?
I was transferred from financial investigation to organized crime. While I was at organized crime, I applied for a post and I was promoted.
Okay. And this is the promotion to where now? Where do you go?
To organized crime now.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
This affidavit is made in response to the notice issued by the Commission in accordance with Rule 3.5 of its rules, dated 15 May 2026. The notice arises from a testimony and statement of General Hendrik Flynn concerning a drug seizure that occurred on the 22nd June 2021 at CSC Depot in Siping. I have read the notice and the accompanying extract from Major General Flynn's statement and testimony. I deny the allegation level against me. The affidavit would demonstrate that my involvement in the event of 2022, January 2021.
June.
I'm sorry about that, Commissioner. Can I start afresh? Just from there. I deny the allegation level against me. This affidavit demonstrates that my involvement in the event of 22 June 2021 was limited and restricted to what I was requested and instructed to do. Any allegation contained in this notice, it is attachments that is not specifically addressed and admitted herein, must be taken as denied. On the 22nd June 2021, Warrant Officer Mpangase requested me to assist him and Lieutenant Colonel Jacob to follow up on information concerning a possible drug bust. At the time, I was attached to DPCI unit focused on economic protected resources. Large-scale drug investigation were not my area of specialization or primary function. We proceeded to Phoenix to...
Sorry, I just want to make sure that I have my timeline correct. So in June 2021, you are in economic, is that in organized crime as well?
Yes, Chair. Organized crime has got three components. It's SANAP, EPR, and NPVC.
Okay. So by that, on 22 June 2020, you already have been promoted into organized.
I tried a ton of AI work tools. Then I tried Monday.com. Game over. Monday.com is...
On the 1st of September 2021.
Okay.
So June I was not yet promoted.
So in June, you are still under that temporary transfer?
Yes.
Is that what's happening?
Yes.
In June. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Colonel, maybe let me at this point, just so that we are here. Just to follow up on what Commissioner Baloyi is saying, in terms of your normal duties, what did those include?
My duties, I was an investigator at Economic Protected Resources, which deals with human trafficking, kidnappings, non-ferrous metal, theft of copper, theft of fuel. So those were the things that I was investigating at the time.
And in terms of narcotics, would that have been outside your duties?
Yes. Yes.
And prior to that, had you been involved in things relating to narcotics or operations relating to narcotics?
Yes, I was involved in some operations involved in narcotics.
Thank you. You may proceed.
We proceeded to Phoenix to fetch Lieutenant Colonel Jacobs using a state motor vehicle VW Golf 7 TDI with registration number that. We then proceeded to Durban, Isipingo, near the harbor. We met an African male who was introduced by Lieutenant Jacob as Captain Duma from Crime Intelligence Unit. Captain Duma addressed us, Lieutenant Jacob and Warrant Officer Mpangase, and indicated that he has information from an informer about 27 bricks of pure cocaine stored inside the container at CSG depot. On the 14th Avenue East in prospecting, we followed Captain Duma to the depot. He was driving a charcoal Toyota Corolla. On arrival at the depot, we introduced ourselves and entered at the main gate. We continued following Captain Duma straight down the road. Lieutenant Colonel Jacob went to the management office. After some time, they came back with an Indian lady who was introduced as Mrs. Pillay, the manager of the depot. Lieutenant Colonel Jacob stated the reason of our visit. The container with serial number BEAU 5955535 was placed down for inspection, and the shipping documents were handed over to Lieutenant Colonel Jacobs. The doors of the container were inspected by Lieutenant Colonel Jacob. The seal was intact with seal number that. The seal was broken by an employee of the depot in the presence of the management of the depot, DPCI members, Captain Duma of CI, ORS members, and depot security members. When the doors were open, we noticed inside the container black canvas bags with tape placed next to the door and some on top of the white sacks. When these bags were inspected inside them, we were all shocked and surprised by the quantity of drugs found. They contained bricks of suspected cocaine wrapped in black and yellow tape, some written Jaguar and TikTok packages with approximately 1 kilogram per brick. The space was limited for us to work as the machinery was moving up and down. It was also risky for the members and the exhibit due to the number of bystanders who were observing the activities. Lieutenant Colonel Jacobs informed us that we should proceed to Ispingo, SAPS. He requested members from ORS Durban Harbour to assist. All the 27 black bags were loaded into the ORS marked vehicle, a Hyundai H1 driven by Sergeant Gavenda and his crew, Sergeant Kiza. I drove behind the H1 and never lost sight of them to the police station. On arrival at the police station, we parked the vehicles on the parking lot. Warrant Officer Perumal of SAP 13 was called to the parking, and he started to offload the bags. All the bags, placed them on the floor. We started placing exhibit on the ground and started counting. The total number of the bricks from the 27 bags was 541 bricks, suspected cocaine. All the exhibit were entered in the Isipingo SAP 13 373 of 2021 by Warrant Officer Mpangase and booked them out. While at the Isipingo SAPS, as we were busy unpacking and counting, I heard the SAP 13 clerk, Warrant Officer Peruman, talking to Lieutenant Colonel Jacob, stating that they do not have space to store these drugs. Warrant Officer Mpangase requested for the exhibit back from Warrant Officer Peruman. However, Perumal indicated that he did not have any forensic bags. Warren Sampangase requested that I must go and request for the bags at the church office. I went to request for the bags at the church office. Members indicated that they do not have forensic bags. Lieutenant Kenneth Jacobs indicated that he has informed Brigadier Nyuswa about the issue of unavailability of storage at Isipingo SAPS. After some time, Lieutenant Jacob informed us that the exhibit will be kept at Poshepstein Organized Crime Unit, walk-in safe. Members from our office and tracing team were on their way to give backup on the escort. Lieutenant Jacob handed over to Warrant Officer Mpangase and left Isipingo SAPS and to proceed with his vacational leave. The members arrived shortly and Warrant Officer Mpangase briefed them, and the exhibits were loaded in the Hyundai H1 and Nissan X-Trail and PVC vehicles. We departed from Isipingo SAPS and proceeded straight to Poshepstein Organized Crime Unit. On arrival at Poshepstein Organized Crime, we met General Snona, Brigadier Nyuswa, the acting unit commander of Poshepstein, and other members. We offloaded the exhibit from the two vehicles and placed them inside the walk-in safe. The acting unit commander locked the safe, handed over the keys to Warrant Officer Mpangase, who checked the safe door and took the keys. He handed the keys to General Snona at the main entrance. We drove back to Durban with the rest of the team.
Sorry, Kenneth. Can I just ask one thing? When you say you met General Sinona and Brigadier Nyuswa, just before I forget, were they already at the Poshepstein offices, or you arrived at the same time, or they arrived thereafter?
We arrived at the same time.
At the same time?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
On the 23rd June 2021 in the morning, I was informed by Warrant Officer Mpangase that we needed to go to Poshepstein to place the exhibit inside the forensic bags. We then went to provincial office to collect the keys. We remained in the vehicle since there was no parking, and Warrant Officer Mpangase picked up the keys. We then proceeded straight to Poshepstein with other members from Durban office, SANEP, and tracking team. Upon arrival at organized crime offices, we met with the acting unit commander, Lieutenant Colonel Prinsloo, and Warrant Officer Van der Berg from Poshepstein Soki. Members from Durban Soki SANEP were also present: Captain B.T. Ntanzi, Captain C.M. Fries, Sergeant Kumete, and members from tracking team. I don't know their names. The exhibit were recounted and sealed in the exhibit bags. We departed to Durban, traveling on the state motor vehicle BSG 056B. It was myself, Detective Warrant Officer Mpangase, and Sergeant Kumete. On the 24th June 2021 in the morning, Warrant Officer Mpangase came to my office and indicated that we needed to go back to Poshepstein to obtain the samples and book the exhibit in the SCP-13. We then left the Durban office to provincial office. We parked on the road with Sergeant Kumete while Warrant Officer Mpangase went up to collect the keys. He came back. We proceeded to Poshepstein DPCI. On arrival, members from the Poshepstein DPCI Soki, Detective Warrant Officer Van der Berg, and another member, I don't know his name, were waiting for us at the entrance towards the walk-in safe. The safe was opened by Warrant Officer Mpangase in their presence, and he took the sample from the exhibits, and we went to Poshepstein SAPS with Warrant Officer Mkomo from Poshepstein Organized Crime, or SOKI, and the exhibit were entered in the Poshepstein SAPS 13889 of 2021 by Warrant Officer Mpangase, and he also booked them out. We then left and proceeded to Potchefstroom DPCI to drop off Warrant Officer Mkomo and proceeded straight to Durban Provincial Office. Warrant Officer Mpangase left us in the vehicle and by the road to hand back the safe keys, as there was no parking around the area. I don't remember the date, but Warrant Officer Mpangase handed over to me 5 samples and an inquiry file to hand it over to Lieutenant Colonel Jacob on the following day. On the following day, I handed over the sample and inquiry to Lieutenant Colonel Jacob as requested. On the 1st July 2021, I was requested by Lieutenant Colonel Jacob to go with him and Warrant Officer Mpangase to CSC depot to do an unpack on the container. We proceeded there. We conducted a count of a total of 5,395 bags of 50 kg bags of the main, animal feed. This corresponded with the packing list. The container was resealed. The container was released to the clearing agent by Lieutenant Colonel Jacob. Response to the allegation in the notice. I will now respond directly to the specific allegations as set out in the notice. 80 paragraph 1.1.1, failure to cordon off the crime scene. I deny that I failed to cordon off the crime scene. Paragraph 11 of 3A of National Instruction 1/2015 places the duty to secure and protect the crime scene by establishing an inner and outer cordon squarely on the first responder. 20.1.3, as stated above, I was not the first responder. Warrant Officer Mpangase received the initial information, and Lieutenant Colonel Jacob, as the senior officer, assumed command. The responsibility to make the initial scene safe and to establish a cordon thereof rested with them, and subsequently with Lieutenant Colonel Jacob as the crime scene commander. I was acting under their command and was never instructed to perform this function, nor it will have been within my mandate to do so without such an instruction. Paragraph 1.1.2, failure to ensure exhibits were properly sealed and labeled. I dare that I failed to ensure that the exhibits were sealed and labeled. Paragraph 14.3c, 4 of the National Instruction 1/2015 stipulates that the crime scene supervisor from the Local Criminal Record Center, LCRC, is responsible for ensuring that all the evidence collected is logged and handled correctly, included being sealed at the crime scene where practically possible. Furthermore, SAPS National Instruction 8 of 2017, Property and Exhibit Management, National Instruction 8 2017, at paragraph 14.8, A7 and 9, requires that drugs be sealed in forensic evidence collection bags and that this must be done in the presence of the suspect. The decision not to process the scene at the CHC depot and consequently not to call the LCC was taken by the crime scene commander, Lieutenant Colonel Jacob, due to the circumstances defined above, on the unusual scene at the depot and the risk thereof. Paragraph 1.3, failure to call the Local Criminal Record Center. I deny that I failed to call the RCRC. Paragraph 13.2F of National Instruction 1/2015 is unequivocal. The crime scene commander must take immediate responsibility in requesting that a crime scene examiner from the LCRC attend the crime scene for processing. I was a subordinate officer acting under his command and had no authority to make such a call. Paragraph 1.4, failure to transfer exhibit to the forensic laboratory.
Sorry, 1.1.4, not 1.4.
Thank you, Chair. Paragraph 1.1.4, failure to transfer the exhibit to the forensics laboratory, FSL. I deny this allegation. My involvement with the exhibit non-existent beyond being present at their discovery. The responsibility for the submission of exhibit to the FSL is clearly delineated in the national instruction. Delineated in the national instruction. Paragraph 20.4.2, 15.3F of the national instruction places the duty on the investigating officer, who must ensure submission within 7 working days. Paragraph 20.4.3, similarly, paragraph 8.3 of the National Instruction 8, 2017 places the responsibility of the station commander, SAPS, SAP 13 official, and the detective commander. I held none of their designated roles. My mandate did not extend to the handling, storage, registration in the SAP 13 register, or subsequently transferred of exhibits. Once the exhibits were removed from the scene under the direction of Lieutenant Jacob, my involvement ceased as I was the additional member in this scene. The chain of custody and responsibility to transfer to the FSL passed to the investigating officer and the commander of the unit where the exhibit was stored. Paragraph 1.2, participation in a scheme to...
At GoDaddy, we know your website is the center of your online business. Help protect it from online threats with websites.
I dare this serious allegation in the strongest possible term.
Deny.
Sorry,
You said dare or something like that.
I deny.
Deny, yes.
Yes. I deny this serious allegation in the strongest possible term. I was not part of any scheme, nor did I engage in any process designed to make the exhibit vulnerable to theft. My conduct was at all times bona fide, authentic. I was following the lawful instruction of senior. The decision which Major General Flynn retrospectively identified as created vulnerability were not my decision. These include the decision not to process the crime scene at the depot, the decision not to call the RCRC, the decision not to store the exhibit at the police station of jurisdiction, namely Sipingo, and the decision to transport the exhibit to the DPCI premises in Potchefstroom was the senior management decision. The above-mentioned operational decision made solely by the command structure of the scene, namely Lieutenant Jacob and Warren Sampangas. I can confirm that I was present on this scene and give the overwhelming and significant scope of the seizure and the complexity circumstances at the CSC depot. I would have processed the crime scene in the comparable manner. My actions were limited, transparent, consistent with the duties of the subordinate officer, mainly providing support and manpower. There is no factual basis to suggest I was a party to the design or coincided that Major General Flynn alleges. I wish to inform the Commission of my strong commitment to policing. Having served diligently in the force for the past 2 decades with pride, I categorically state that I was not involved in the theft of these exhibits. Additionally, at the time of the incident, I was attending training at SAPS PAL Academy in Western Cape. The course commenced on the 17th October 2021 to the 3rd of December. During this duration of training, I only traveled once to Durban, KZN on the 29th October 2021 till the 2nd November 2021. C. Atesh Anishas, KG1, KG2, the flight ticket to and from Western Cape, and KG3, the certificate of successful completion of the said training. It is my sincere hope that those responsible for these serious offences are apprehended and brought before a court of law.
May I just seek clarity on paragraph 4, please, Colonel?
Yes, paragraph.
Yes. Where you say that you and Colonel Moody were temporarily transferred from the financial investigation to organized crime. Why was that done?
Commissioner, even before 2020, I think if in 2019, when Colonel Moodley was in charge of financial investigation, I was experiencing difficulties. When I spent long hours in the computer, I would have severe headache. I made a request to Colonel Moodley, who was still the commander then. He also advised that I should try and get spectacles, maybe they might assist me, of which I did, but still I could not get assisted because every evening when I spent considerable amount of time in the computer, because financial investigation, it deals a lot with bank statement analysis. Then the post at financial investigation was upgraded. Then Colonel Singh came in as a full colonel now. I requested Colonel Singh. She then said to me she will speak to the management and try to place me at assets forfeiture investigation. In 2020, we were called by Colonel Singh, myself, Colonel Moodley. We proceeded, all the three of us went to provincial office. On arrival at provincial office, we met Brigadier Nyuswa, General Snona. Then we were informed that myself and Colonel Moodley, we are transferred to organized crime at number 136, but Colonel Moodley will go to SANAP section, then I'll go to EPR.
And you say this was temporary. What was the duration?
We were not given a specific time as to how long is the duration that will be there. A duty arrangement, normally they don't give you a duration. They will call you when they want you back. So they just explain to you if you are interested in, they want you to go and work in that section. Then if you don't have a problem, then you'll go and work there.
I'm not asking about being told.
All right.
In the end, what was the duration?
For me, I think it was when I was told up until I was promoted. When I was promoted, then I had to take up my post at organized crime, but at a different section, not EPR, at SANAP section.
And how long had all of this taken from the time you were told? Up to the time of your promotion, how long had it taken from the time you were told?
I'm not too sure, Commissioner, but I was informed in 2020. I can't recall exactly as to which month.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Up until September 1st when I was promoted.
All right.
Can I just clarify something that you said? You said something about before EPR you were at SANEP. Can you just explain when do you become part of SANEP?
I didn't say before EPR I was at SANAP.
I might have misheard you.
Yeah.
My question is, when did you become a member of SANEP? Yes.
I was promoted to SANAP in September, 1st of September. I was promoted to SANAP, 2021.
Okay. Before you were promoted to SANEP,
Yes,
you were acting, you were in that temporary transfer
yes,
before you were promoted to SANEP.
yes.
And where were you in that period when you are in temporary placement?
Economic protected resources.
That's where you were?
Yeah, in
Okay.
the same office at organized crime.
Okay, thank you.
Colonel, let's go back to, my focus is paragraph 19 of your statement, but I want to start at paragraph 18, just to clarify the sequence.
Yes,
Maybe let's start at 17. You see, at paragraph 17 is the 24th of June
yes,
in the morning. Mpangase comes to your office, says you have to go to Port Shepstone to get the samples. And then paragraph 18, you deal with you arriving at Port Shepstone to get the samples. The samples were obtained. And then when we get to paragraph 19, which is really the focus of my question, you can leave out the first sentence, but it's about handing over the 5 samples or the 5 exhibits to Colonel Jacob. And that has to be done the following day. I'm assuming the following day is now the 25th of June?
no, these are totally different instances. It cannot be the 25th of June. It was after we went to Potchefstroom,
Yes.
and then I think it was maybe before the first.
Before the first.
Before the first, it's between the first and the 24th.
So between the 24th and the date before the first, where were these samples, the 5 samples or the 5 exhibits?
The 5 samples were with the investigating officer, Warren Officer Mpangas.
In Durban.
Yes, in Durban.
And then on the first, you say you then gave the samples to Colonel Jacob.
Not on the first, Commissioner. I'm not too sure of the date, but it should be, I'm saying between the 1st and the 26th,
Yes.
because it was not on the 25th and 26th, it was a weekend.
Yeah.
Between the 26th and the 1st.
So when you gave the samples to Colonel Jacobs, was it already in July? Was it already in July? Or was it still in June?
It was still in June.
And
It was before we went for an inspection of the container.
before you went, because the inspection, we know it was in July.
Yeah.
I just wanted to understand, where was Colonel Jacob? Was he back from leave, or did you go to his house to give him these samples?
No. Warrant Officer Mpangas came to my office.
Yes.
It was late in the afternoon. He says to me, tomorrow he won't be in the office in the morning. So he wants me to hand over these 5 samples and an inquiry to Kenneth Jacob. Then I took possession of the sample and the inquiry, put them in my steel cabinet. The following day, when we reported for duty, Kenneth Jacob was present.
Oh, so this all happens in the office?
Yeah, in the
Okay.
office. Then the following day, I handed over the inquiry and the samples.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify the timeline, because you moved from the 24th, then you said the following day, so I got confused there.
I said that I don't remember the date.
Yeah, no, that now I understand you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I just want to start maybe at the end so that it's paragraph 20.4 of your statement.
Yes.
At page 8.
Yes.
You say that your involvement with the exhibit was non-existent beyond being present at their discovery.
Yes.
And that would have been the 22nd.
20.4, you said, Mr.
20.4, yes.
Yes.
So, can you just speak louder? That's what let us say. Can you raise your voice
Okay.
into the mic? I don't know if you can pull them closer.
Okay. Please,
Yes, just
repeat,
yes.
please repeat your question, Chair.
So, At 20.4 of your statement, you say basically, second sentence, my involvement with the exhibits was non-existent beyond being present at their discovery. And that would have been the 22nd of June.
No, I think maybe I made an error there, Chair, because I also handled the exhibit on the 23rd and the 24th. I handled the exhibit. So I think we need to amend there to say the exhibit, I handled them on the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th.
Thank you. Yeah, that was confusing me a bit.
Or the sentence could simply be deleted altogether. Do you lose anything if that sentence is deleted?
No, let's delete it, Chair. We can delete it.
So I just,
Sorry, Mr. Skakani, we're still trying to understand what that deletion means. Thank you, Mrs.
Please continue, Mr. Skakan.
I just wanted to check with the confusion that might be. When would you say was the last time you interacted with the exhibits or you handled the exhibits?
Chair, it will be on the 24th when Warrant Officer Mpangase was taking sample from the exhibit. I was inside the scene.
Thank you. Perhaps that could assist with the clarity. That the next thing before we go back is your 20.7.
Yes.
That's page 9. You say your conduct was at all times bona fide and authentic, and you say I was following the lawful instructions of senior. Now, and then you go on to say the decision not to process the scene and the decision not to call LCRC, and it goes on further. Now, would you say that those decisions were lawful? Would you maintain that the conduct of Warrant Officer Mpangase and Jacob in relation to the scene were in accordance with the national instruction?
They were not according to the national instruction.
And would it be that their instructions to you, perhaps, would it then still be lawful?
They never instructed me not to call LCRC, or he just made a decision not to call the LCRC.
No, I'm saying you were following the lawful instructions of a senior in relation to the scene. Is it unrelated to the subparagraph 20.7.1 up to 20.7.4?
Do you want to stick to lawful? Do you want to stick to lawful?
I'm talking about the decision or the instruction that were given to me. Everything I did was as per instruction. Firstly was to take photos, to load the exhibit in the car, to drive to ping or SAPS, to count the exhibit, and the exhibit were not entered by me at the SAP-13, they were entered by the investigating officer.
I think, as I understand it, the operative word in Mr. Skakane's question is lawful. I was following the lawful instructions of my senior. So I think he wants to know whether you insist that all the instructions that you followed were lawful. Do you want to stick to lawful? I think that's the essence of the question, Mr. Skakan.
Yes, that's all.
At that point in time, Chair, they were lawful to me. At that point in time.
All right. Mrs. Kakan.
And would you maintain?
We had tasks in one app, docs in another, meetings somewhere else. It was complete chaos. Then we moved everything to ClickUp. And when we turned on the AI agents, game.
With the experience that I have now, being the team leader of SANAP, I would say maybe some of the decision I would have done differently.
And I'm saying the instructions and what happened was, would you say now with benefit of hindsight, and I mean you've quoted the national instruction, and I don't want us to go there and have a debate about that, would you say that those decisions that were taken and the instructions were lawful, that were done by Colonel Jacob and Warrant Officer Mpangas?
No.
Thank you. Can we just go to the beginning of your statement? And I don't want to belabor the point with you that much. But what your statement, the picture that it seems to give is that your involvement, or at least according to you, was minimal.
It was very minimal because I had two seasoned SANAP investigators who were handling everything. So for me, it was just to follow orders and assist in terms of whatever request they are making for me to assist them.
And when you say, is it minimal in comparison to the two of them, or in relation just generally, objectively?
Generally.
But earlier on, you accepted that you were tasked at various instances. You went with Warrant Officer Mpangase for sampling, and you were handling the exhibits. You were involved in the counting of the exhibits, which is a very important point, or important exercise. Would you still maintain that that's the position? And also on the first, you went with Colonel Jacob to the depot.
If you are requested to assist and you are available to assist, I normally assist everyone in the office who requests assistance. So I don't see anything wrong by assisting. But the person who's responsible is the investigating officer, who's responsible for everything. You just give assistance to your colleague that he requires.
Would you then disagree with me to say, of all the individuals that were involved at the scene and subsequently up to the 1st of July, in terms of the tasks, you were the third in line. So it was Captain Duma, he provides the information, but then it was Jacob who was in charge of the scene. You accept that. And Warrant Officer Mpangase.
The investigating officer.
Correct.
Yes.
And then the next person is yourself.
Yes.
You came with them to the depot.
Yes.
You then were at the scene with them. You followed whatever instructions that were there. And with hindsight now, we accept their character or their nature. Then on the 23rd, you also go to to Port Shepstone.
Yes.
And you store the exhibits. And then on this following day, you are the one that goes with Warrant Officer Mpangase, the same on the 24th. And then you also have in your possession of the samples, you give them to Colonel Jacob. You also went to the CHC depot with Colonel Jacob. So would you agree that out of the people that were involved, after Mpangase, you were the next one that bore most of the responsibilities? Or tasks, let me not call them responsibilities. Let me
Not really responsibility, because their responsibility lies with the investigating officer.
Guys, where?
The investigating officer.
Okay.
Yeah, he can request assistance from other colleagues, but the investigation he's the one who's directing the investigation.
No, I suppose the point that I was saying is that you are not responsible in that sense, but when we accept, just also please do say yes or no if you agree or disagree. Out of the incidents or the points that I've pointed out to you,
Yes, you'll say I was the third one.
you were the third
Person.
sort of person responsible. Not responsible,
Yeah.
but that was active. Let me call
Yes,
call it active.
Active, yeah.
Correct. All right. Now let's go to your to your capacity at the time. In terms of your relationship, what was the nature of your relationship with, if there was, Colonel Jacob?
Boss subordinate relationship.
So there was no social relationship with him.
No social relationship.
Yeah. And Warrant Officer Mpangase?
Just a colleague.
And had you made operations with him, conducted operations with both of them or either?
Kenneth Jacob, I had conducted operations with.
How many, just in average?
Quite several, because he was my team leader, so now and then we'll conduct operations. I wouldn't be able to give you the number of operations, but I've worked with Kenneth Jacob.
And in terms of narcotics, how many operations had you worked with him on?
I wouldn't be sure, but I know that we've executed some search warrants at the premises in Phoenix.
Where you dealt with seizures, drug seizures?
Not seizure, not drug seizure. We executed a search warrant where we went to.
No, I'm just focusing on drug seizures, just to time.
No.
You'd never?
This was my first drug seizure.
Okay.
Can you just clarify when you talk about warrants, was it at a house or at a warehouse?
At the house, at
At-
the premises.
at a residence?
At the residence house, at the premises, yeah.
And to be fair to you, so you would say that you had not been, or maybe rephrasing your answer, you had not been involved in any of drug seizures. This was your first.
It was my first time even entering the depot.
All right. And then at paragraph 6 of your statement, which is,
You say it was your first time entering a depot. The question you were asked is, was this your first drug seizure?
Yes, it was the first drug seizure. Check.
Thank you.
And what's the most significant or largest crime scene you had ever been involved in? Crime scene. What's the most significant or largest that you had ever been involved in before the CHC depot seizure?
I used to work at serious and violent crime. So I've been exposed to murder crime scenes, cash in transit. I've been to cash in transit before.
Okay, all right.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, Mrs. Kakan.
thank you. Earlier on, you went, I think there was some issue with Commissioner Baloyi about, at the time, that's in June 2021, I'd like us to focus on June 2021. One is, you say you had not been involved in drugs or anything like that.
In the past.
Okay. So at the time, equally, were you aware of what was applicable in terms of the law, the national instructions in relation to drug seizures? I would take that would not be the case.
No.
And
specifically to the harbour, no. Say no.
so, but generally, you were aware of the national instruction at the time?
Yes, I was aware.
Okay. And
I actually also wanted to to touch on that. That is the prescripts which you deal with extensively at paragraph 20, including all the several sub-paragraphs and sub-paragraphs. So you've just answered now in response to the last question by Mrs. Kakane that as at 22 June 2021, you were already aware of those prescripts, correct?
Yes, I was aware.
Yes. Now, being aware of those prescripts, would you say what was done on the day in terms of the handling of the scene and, in fact, the handling of the suspected cocaine itself? Would you say that that complied with the prescripts that you were aware of at the time?
I'll say no.
No. But you participated in what was being done despite your awareness that the prescripts were being flouted.
I believe, Commissioner, that if the crime scene manager is there and an investigating officer, the responsibility lies with them.
So you just allow yourself to be used as a pawn whilst prescripts that you are aware of are being flouted. Is that what you are telling us?
Chair, if you said I'm allowing myself to be used as a pawn,
Fine, they may have been giving the instructions, but you too actually participated in what was being done. Did you not handle the bags? For example, I'm just giving one example.
I did.
You handled the bags.
Yes.
And even after you loaded them onto the ORS vehicle, did you not?
I did.
And you drove following the ORS vehicle, not so?
Yes, I did.
And on arrival at the Isipingo police station, you also assisted, I assume, with the offloading of the bags.
Yes, I did, Chair.
You also assisted with the counting of the bags. You also assisted with the counting of the contents of the bags.
Yes,
Correct?
Correct, Chair.
And all of this being done at variance with or not in accordance with the prescripts of which you were aware. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
But
So what I'm saying is you allow yourself to be so instructed and to then participate in this manner, whilst you were aware that applicable prescripts were being flouted. That's the essence of my question.
My response to you, Chair, in the police we work with instructions and command. And
I know, even though I'm not a police officer, I know for a fact, and I've heard many police officers say that the only obligation on you is to follow lawful instructions, underline lawful. Am I wrong?
You're right.
I'm right. Now you say prescripts were being flouted. You cannot tell me that you were following instructions when you know that those instructions were flouting prescripts.
At the point in time, Chair, when this thing was happening, I did not see that the prescriptions are being, they are not being followed.
I doubt that that's open to you because Mr. Skakan has started by asking you if you were aware of the prescripts. I also followed up with a similar question, and your responses were in the affirmative. You cannot now suddenly want to suggest that you were not aware that the prescripts were being flouted. If you knew the prescripts, surely you would also have known that we are now flouting them.
But remember, Chair, that this was my first container inspection.
A crime scene is a crime scene. If the prescripts, for example, require of the senior, or rather the crime scene, what? No, the crime scene, the person who conducts this one, the crime scene, what? The person in charge of the crime
crime scene
scene,
commander.
whatever the title is, yes, the crime scene commander. You know that the crime scene commander must call the LCRC. Do you not know?
I know.
You know.
Yes.
And do you know the importance of that? I will tell you. The importance of that is for the LCRC to be able to take DNA, if there is any, or uplift DNA. The LCRC also to uplift fingerprints, if there are any. The LCRC to also take photographs. They do all of these in accordance with the expertise they have, which is not necessarily expertise that is available throughout SAPS. Am I correct?
You're correct, Chair.
That was not done.
I was instructed to take photos, Chair.
But where I am, but where I am is, were you not aware that that was necessary? That is to call the SR, you've already said you were aware that they had to be called, correct? And once they are not called, you immediately put at risk the function of the uplifting of DNA, fingerprints. Will you still say that you were not aware that the prescripts were being flouted? One, you knew that the LCRC had to be called. It had not been called. And you started handling those bags without the necessary function by the LCRC having been performed. Will you still say that the prescripts were not being flouted? Or that you were not aware that they were being flouted? Will you still say that?
Chair, I was given an instruction to take the photos.
No, I'm not asking you about photos. I'm asking you about the flouting of prescripts. You said you were not aware. And you say that having said that, you knew that the LCRC had to be called. So surely, at the very least with regard to the calling of the LCRC, you knew that that one prescript was being flouted. Do you agree?
I don't agree, Chair.
Why not?
Because operationally, the commander can make an operational decision and flout the prescript.
I like your use of flout.
Yes. Yeah, he can make an operational decision based or under the circumstances that he can explain why he had to make such a decision.
And there was any explanation made to you or given to you?
No, I was not.
Looking for a great car insurance deal? Look no further. For quality cover and affordable
Was not given to you. You cannot, as you sit there, say that he did not flout. You do not know. At best for you, you do not know. Do you agree?
I think, Chair, the crime scene manager will be able to give a reason as to why he didn't call it.
No.
It was not my duty.
I'm asking you because you state categorically that they were not flouted. So I'm saying, and you say the reason is because the commander may, I'll just loosely say, in the exercise of their discretion, decide not to follow the prescript strictly. But you've categorically said that they were not flouted. So what I'm saying is, as you sit there, and because you say you were not, or rather no explanation was given to you, so as you sit there, can you say that they were not flouted? Because you do not know what informed the decision or decisions that were taken. So as you sit there, can you say they were not flouted? Because you do not know what informed the decision.
Now, with the experience that I have now, I can say yes, they were flouted. But then when this thing was happening on the 22nd, I did not see anything wrong with the decision that was made by Kenneth Jacobs.
All right, thank you.
think you saw nothing wrong with handling those bags and moving them from the container into the motor vehicles and doing the same from the container, from the depot, and doing the same thing at Isipingo. Are you saying you saw nothing wrong in the handling, or that you individuals are holding these exhibits or these bags and therefore corrupting whatever DNA and fingerprint material would have been on the bags? You say you saw nothing wrong with that?
I think, Chair, what is most important is firstly the safety of the exhibit.
No, I'm not asking you about the safety of the exhibits. I'm asking you on the back of an answer you've given to the chairperson. I'm asking you that, am I understanding you correct, and do you want to repeat that answer as your position, that you saw nothing wrong being done in you taking those bags in your hands, you and the others, putting them onto the ORS vehicle, transporting them to Isipingo, handling them again in the way that you did when you got to Isipingo, the bags and the bricks of suspected cocaine? You say that handling, and when I say handling, I mean putting your hands and fingerprints and whatever is on your bodies onto exhibits where the LCRC has not attempted to uplift fingerprints to get DNA. You say there was nothing wrong in that handling, that way of handling things.
We were using protective clothing, gloves, Chair.
Okay. So you're saying you did not corrupt DNA, you did not corrupt fingerprints in your handling of these? It seems to me you would have necessarily.
Yes,
you
yes.
would have. You accept that you would have done that.
Yes, yes.
Thank
Chair.
you.
Mr. Skakane, we have moved to the containers, and my questions were on the initial request to him to join the operation. If you're going to come back to that, I will hold my questions until then so that you can continue with the line of questioning where you are now. So I just wanted to get an indication from you.
Commissioner, let me be flexible and allow you to ask the
No,
question.
I want to be in your hands this time.
I'm still going to come. I was not going to come there on that issue.
Let me do that then. Warrant Officer, you said to the chair and to Commissioner Baloyi that this was your first container inspection, correct?
Yes, yes.
And that, just looking at paragraph 6 of your statement, that at the time you were dealing with economic protected resources. So large-scale drug investigations were not your area of specialization or primary function. So on the morning of the 22nd of June 2021, when you are suddenly asked by Mpangase to come and assist to follow up in a possible drug bust, as you say, in paragraph 6 of your statement, did you not find that curious and ask yourself, why are you asking me and not other members of the DPCI who often deal with drug busts and drug operations? Why me? I don't know anything about this.
I didn't, Chair.
You did it, you asked them.
I'm still responding,
Yes.
Chair. Yes.
No, I wanted to make sure I heard you correctly.
I'm saying, Chair, even if you can look at my statement, on the very same day when we were transporting exhibit from Isipingo to Potchefstroom, we used members from NPVC. The following day when we were going to back exhibit, members from SANAP were utilized. So in the office, we assist each other across board. There is not this thing that you are from this section, which means you cannot assist on the other section. Obviously, the people who are coming from that section, they take the lead. That is why I'm saying Kenneth Jacob and Warosa Panga said they were from SANAP. So they had to take the lead. For me, I did not even make notes because I knew that the investigating officer and the crime scene manager, they are there. So they know what they are doing because that is their field of expertise.
But did you not ask why they chose you and not other members of the team who have expertise? Because you said to the chair now, while you were there, you were asked to take photos.
Yes.
Now, most of the affidavits from LCRC people that I have seen, they are qualified in crime scene management. And they even have qualifications as far as taking photos at the crime scene are concerned. Because the location of containers, yesterday we were talking to Colonel Jacob and he was explaining the scene, but there were no photos in front of us explaining the distance between where the container was and the cars that were moving around, and they hindered the ability to count the bags there next to the container. Now, if you say you are the person who was tasked with taking the photos at a drug bust, and you have no experience clearly in doing that, was that not curious to you that you may not do things correctly because you are simply not experienced when it comes to going to depots and taking photos or handling exhibits at a drug bust?
I was taking photos, Kenneth Jacob was also taking photos. So
It was also his first time at a depot, by the way.
I didn't know that, Chair.
That's why we don't have clear photos as we are sitting here. But my question is this: you knew yourself that you had never handled drug busts, you had never been to a depot. So when you get asked for assistance, was it not curious? I mean, why do you ask me? Why not other members who have more experience in this
Chair.
field?
No, Chair, in our office, when the information comes in and there is a person from that section, you assist. When you are at the crime scene, they will provide guidance, regardless of rank. If a person, the information is based on drugs and there are drug members there, then they will take the lead, but the other member will provide backup and assistance. They will be getting directives from those that are responsible, that section that is responsible.
Kenneth Sibia, I'm not faulting you for this, just so that you are clear. But the impression I get, based on what your two senior colleagues had done, is that they deliberately chose somebody who is clueless about these types of matters, so that you wouldn't question them even when they are doing something improper. What is your comment, if you have any?
I wouldn't know. I trusted that they are there as experienced people. They will know what to do. I avail myself. If the people saying there's a drug bust, then everybody, we need to get these drugs off the street. I was there.
But is it fair to say if they were doing something wrong, you wouldn't be able to question them because you also didn't know how a drug bust gets handled?
Yes.
That is fair.
It's fair.
Thank you.
Can I just check something that you said in your answer to Commissioner Kumalo? You say you did not take any notes because you were there to assist. Do you not carry a diary, I mean, a pocketbook? My understanding of evidence so far is that every police officer has a pocketbook or at somewhere where they record what they do, where they are, where they went, and what they did. So when you say you didn't take notes, is it because you don't carry a book?
I do carry a pocketbook, but the notes that I was referring to are the ones that are normally taken by the investigating officer, where he gets when he's at the crime scene, he sees who's there. He take the contact numbers and identify people that will submit statements. Those are the kind of notes that I'm talking about.
That you're talking about, okay.
Yes.
But so you have a pocketbook.
Yes, I do.
Your pocketbook would record what? What goes into your pocketbook for the 22nd of June?
The activities that you've done.
Okay. So your pocketbook will say you attended at, you picked up Colonel Jacob,
Yes,
and you were with Duma, and you went to the depot,
yes,
and this is what happened
yes.
at the depot.
Then we moved to Potchefstroom to store exhibits.
Uh.
Then I report of duty.
Okay. And that is contained in your pocketbook as you sit there
Yes,
and speak?
Yes, yes.
And we can get a copy
You can
of,
get a copy
of
of
those
my
pages for the day?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I think Commissioner Kumalo took the point I was trying to raise. And I want, but I just want to emphasize one thing maybe, or question. In light of our earlier discussion, or in light of the discussion we also had with Chair, what seems to be the case, or what seems, or the picture that comes out, is that you didn't know, or the prescripts at the time, how things are functioning, so you wouldn't know a lot of things that would have to be complied with at the drug bust seizures. You wouldn't know anything about sampling equally.
Yes.
And you wouldn't know anything about valuing distractions and the types of, or the grades of the exhibits. So that wouldn't be, and with that in mind and with hindsight, and literally it's following what Commissioner Kumalo was pointing out, with hindsight, do you not think that you were being put into a situation deliberately so that you are unable to question, as he says? Colonel Jacobs, that is not only on the 22nd, but that's also the 23rd, the 24th, and they also let you handle the samples, and then on the 1st. Just with hindsight.
It might be, but I wouldn't know what was they thinking. What was their thinking when they requested assistance from me? Initially, Wanusambanga acted as if because I was in possession of the state car, so he requires my assistance. So I wouldn't know.
Now I'm saying, would you, analyzing what is the picture that wouldn't you find that probable that that's what happened?
It's possible.
They put you in a situation you couldn't.
It's possible.
Thank you. Then can we go to the events of the 22nd themselves? Do you sit in the same building or office with Warrant Officer Mbangase?
Yes.
Okay. And then he then requests you to assist. What does he say is the nature of the assistance?
He said he has received information about a drug bust, and he has spoken to Kenneth Jacob. Kenneth Jacob said he must come and request assistance from me.
Perhaps what I want to understand, is it a matter of manpower, or what is it? Because we have to distinguish between an official assistance and just, I think at some point, Commissioner Baloyi would have said as a citizen, just general citizen, civil assistance.
He requested assistance for...
No, it was at some point, not today.
They've said what?
It's a civilian's duties, yes. If you didn't, then I apologize, but I seem to recall
I'm happy
in
to
another
take
incident.
credit for what you attribute to me.
Thank you.
Please repeat your question.
No,
Chair.
I'm saying your assistance would have been as an officer, so they wouldn't take any citizen.
Yes. And,
So-
and when we were exiting the office, most of the officers had already left the office, so the doors were closed. So in the passages, most of the doors were closed.
And this was around what time?
just before 8.
Just before 8, okay. And then you travel in one car to where?
Even in the parking lot, the only car that was there, it was that car that we were traveling in, the Golf that I was using.
Yes, but I'm saying you then went to where from there?
We then went to Phoenix to pick up Kenneth Jacob at his place of residence.
And at this time, you know that Colonel Jacob is off duty.
Yes, I knew that he was on leave, and Pangase told me that he's going to report on duty as we're going to pick him. Pangase told me that no, Kenneth Jacob will report on duty. That's why we are going to pick him up.
Okay. And then you pick up Colonel Jacob, and you then went to the CHC depot.
No, we went to Isipingo, where we met Captain Duma.
Okay. And in that way, does Colonel Jacob brief you or set out what you each would have to do?
No, he only told us that we are going to meet Duma. He's got very good information that we need to act upon, but we'll hear from Duma when he briefs us.
Okay. Then you went to Duma, you met him, and then what was the briefing? Were you present in the briefing itself? And what did he say?
I first sat in the car, and then Kenneth Jacob called me and said, I must come out. He then introduced me to Captain Duma.
Okay, let me just get clarity there.
I was driving.
You were driving?
I'm driving.
So was there a discussion between Captain Duma and Colonel Jacobs in your absence?
No.
Okay.
No, but Kenneth Jacob jumped out of the car because I needed to go around the park. Then after parking, and then Kenneth Jacob called me. Then I went to them. Then he introduced me to Duma. He said, this is Captain Duma from Crime Intelligence. He's the one with information. Then Captain Duma started briefing us.
I think what you're saying is slightly different from what you said first. You said, I first sat in the car, and then...
English chair.
Sorry, what about it? Before you say, let me tell you my problem with what just happened now. You're describing your use of the English. You've described two different things, completely different things. The one is you got there, you sat in the car, Jacobs got out of the car, went to Duma, and then called you. That's one, what you said first. The second time, you say, he got out, I went and looked for parking, and then he called me to come. It's different facts that are playing out here. The one, you were not with him when he went to speak to Duma, and then he called you. The other is, you went to look for parking while he waited for you, and then he waved for you to come. Can you just explain why they're different?
We came around the parking, I stopped, he said stop, he jumped out of the car, I came in the other side of the parking, I parked, then he called me.
When he got out of the car, on this now in your explanation, when you stopped, he got out of the car, what did he do?
He went towards Duma's car.
He went to Duma.
He went towards Duma's car.
Yes, thank you. I think that's what you had said initially. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
To follow up my point earlier, what I want to establish is whether there was even if it is small, or there wasn't.
No, I don't think there was a discussion.
Okay.
The question was answered?
No. I was saying, is he confident enough to say between Captain Duma, then Captain Duma and Colonel Jacobs, could he say there was any discussion, no matter how brief, in his absence? That was the question.
And the answer is no, there wasn't.
There was no discussion.
But you can't know that. You went and parked. You went to Duma and you went and parked. So you don't know what happened in that time.
Okay,
Isn't that the correct answer?
that's a correct answer.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's 11, Chair. May we break for tea?
Let's adjourn and resume at 25 past 11.
Again, it's 11:24. We are ready to resume. Please switch off your devices. Thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Kakan.
Thank you, Chair and the Commissioners. Just on the logistics, may I request that perhaps, Chair, if we run over, we'll try. We don't have much time as such with the time constraints for the witness. May I request, if needs be, if we go past 1 in terms of lunch?
We have a meeting over the lunch
Sorry?
hour. We have a meeting over the lunch hour.
Okay, no, then I understand.
We'll just have to adjourn and continue after lunch.
Thank you. Colonel? Thank you, Chair. Yes, we were at the discussion that you had with Colonel, with Captain Duma and Colonel Jacobs, you recall, at the depot, just before the depot. Paragraph, where was it? Let's see.
Paragraph 9.
No, it should be before that, where you met Captain Duma.
Yes.
And you were looking for the parking, and they spoke, and then that was just before the depot, or was it at the depot?
It was before.
Just before. Where was this?
It was behind a garage. I don't recall. I don't remember the name of the garage, but it was just behind the filling station.
And what's the distance between that and the depot?
I think maybe 3 or 4 kilometers.
Okay. Then, in that discussion with Captain Duma, at that point, do you then discuss how this operation is going to be conducted? Now that he briefs you that there is this information, what do you guys agree who's playing which role, who does what?
No. Captain Duma just told us that he's been to the depot, so we'll follow him to the depot for inspection of the container. Then we proceeded to the depot. We entered at the main gate of the depot. We proceeded straight down the road, and then we parked somewhere there. There were some area where we parked. Then Kenneth Jacobs jumped out of the car with Captain Duma.
Just before that, so you're saying the three of you, that's Bangase and Jacob.
We were in one vehicle.
Sorry?
We were in one vehicle, Chair.
The three of you?
Yes.
And then Captain Duma?
He was driving alone.
He was driving alone?
Yeah.
And this is now around what time? Still around 8?
8, no. Past
Okay.
8.
Past 8.
Remember that Bangase requests me for assistance
Yes.
around 8.
Yes.
From Durban Central to Phoenix, picking up Kenneth Jacob, drive to Isipingo. I think maybe around something like 9:30.
Okay. No, that's fine. You then you don't discuss what your role is and all
No,
of this?
we did not discuss the roles there.
Okay. And in terms of who's in charge, was it assumed that because Colonel Jacobs is senior?
Protocol dictates that the senior member always take control.
Okay, and that's what you assumed. Then you went to the depot, CHC depot, and you said you've never been there yourself.
Yeah, it was the first time being there.
Okay. Now, I want to understand the setup of the depot according to you, right? When you get to the depot, who gets in first? Is it yourselves or Captain Duma? I would imagine he goes.
We were driving behind Captain Duma's car all the time.
And in terms of the security of the depot itself, I think there was testimony that it was controlled, but just on your own version.
Yeah, there was one security guy at the boom gate, next to the main road. Just one security guy at the boom gate.
Okay, and do you sign in?
He had a conversation with Duma. Then we followed Duma after that.
So Jacobs and Barnes and yourself never had any discussion with the...
No. Duma opened his window, he explained to the security guy, then we followed.
Okay, and then you parked?
We parked, yeah, we drove down the passage, then we stopped, and then they jumped out of the cars, then they proceeded to the offices of the management.
Just speak up a bit. Yeah.
When the vehicles were parked,
Yes.
Captain Duma and Kenneth Jacobs went to the offices of the depot managers.
Okay, and you and Warrant Officer Mpangas stayed behind?
We remained next to the cars there.
Okay, just before we get to that, in terms of the layout of the depot, right, and in terms of security, is it other than the security at the gate, would there be any other security personnel at the depot, according to your knowledge?
It can happen that there were other police security officers, because when we started inspecting the container, I saw some of the securities there.
Okay, and were they armed?
No, I didn't see firearms.
Okay, and the security at the gate, was he armed?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
All right. And then let's go back to the discussion. So Colonel Jacob and Captain Duma went to management.
Yeah, to the offices, yeah.
And obviously you are not part of those discussions. You and Captain and Warrant Officer Mpangas and them.
Yes.
They come back. Do they brief you?
They came back with a lady. I think she introduced herself as Mrs. Pili and other people that were accompanying them. And then she pointed at the container that we were interested in, but the container was stacked with other containers on top.
Okay. So at the layout, right, the container was on top?
It was on top, yes.
All right. And was it marked, specially marked or anything like that?
They've got the container numbers, so that they use to distinguish which container is this.
Okay. And so when you have a briefing, then the agreement, you are part of this agreement, right? Is that the container will be moved to a particular point?
Obviously, Chair, for the container to be inspected, we have to bring it down from the stack and then open it, inspect it.
Okay. So, and in terms of the mobility on the space, I would presume that, you could move the container anyway, or you would disagree with that?
After the other containers were moved for them to be able to reach that container that we were looking for, then the space was not there.
So within the depot, you wouldn't be able to move it anywhere, the container?
I wouldn't know, because the containers are stacked to maybe even more than 6 meters high. So, but where we were, there was no space.
Maybe let me ask the question differently. Colonel Jacob said that, and I think this was on the first day he gave his testimony, he said that the container you wanted to search could have been moved from where it was, where you believed or he believed there were impediments to a proper search and even a proper conduct of what needs to be done at a crime scene. And that as a result, or rather he said, the container could be moved to another spot within the depot, another spot at which the search and seizure could then be conducted properly without any hindrance.
Okay.
I'm sure you would not dispute that.
I want to respond, Chair.
All right.
Remember, Chair, myself and Pangase, we remained in the parking. And then they went around.
So they would have seen...
maybe they might have seen the space where maybe the
so
container...
you are not in a position to dispute what he said?
No, I'm not in a position
Thank you.
to dispute it.
Yes, so it's those things, I think, thank you, Chair. It was that, I think in his testimony, he later did say that it could have been moved. But what that forces me to ask then is, when you say it couldn't, would you still maintain that now?
According to my observation,
No, I'm saying now.
if he said so, then it could be. Maybe it could have been moved. If maybe there's a space that he saw that I didn't see.
Yes. Okay.
But we drove down from the gate. There's a long fence along our left-hand side of and then these containers here. Then we parked at the bottom there. So from that area, there was no area for a container to be searched. But because they went around to the management offices, maybe they were able to identify other places that they could have placed a container.
Okay. So perhaps just to be fair to you, I just want to ask it in a different way. It's the same answer, is that from where you were sitting at the time,
Yes.
and your answer must be understood in the context that at the time, you did not necessarily understand the layout and whether they could have been elsewhere.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I just check on this? You've just said that there was no, from where the container was parked and what you saw in terms of space, there was no area to work where you could have conducted the search. In your statement, you say the space was limited for us to work as the machinery was moving up and down. That's your explanation. If the machinery was not moving up and down, at least that's what the statement suggests, that if there was no machinery moving up and down, you could have worked there. That's what this is conveying.
No, Chair, even in between the containers, the space was very minimal for us to be able to lay all.
Big dreams start small. At GoDaddy, we help you take that first step and every step after. From getting your domain to creating your website, email, and online security, we've got you covered. You don't need to be a tech expert. You just need a starting point. GoDaddy gives you the tools, the expert support, and the push to make it real. Your brand starts here with GoDaddy.
Okay. I'm saying, Chair, when they were moving the containers, they moved the top container, place it on the side, take the next container, place it on the other side, take the container that we were interested in, place it on the side. Then the space there was not enough for us to be able to do the counting.
Explain that space. Which space are you referring to?
I'm meaning the space in front of the container that we were about to inspect.
And the front is the door side
Yes,
of the
where the container is opening.
What constricted the space?
It was the containers that were placed around the container.
No, let's just forget about those. We accept, okay, they are alongside each other. Let's forget about that space. Tell us about the rest of the space. Tell us about
I'm
the
not
rest of the
getting you,
space.
Chair, if you are saying I must forget about the containers and tell you.
We've heard, I don't mean that becomes irrelevant, no. I'm saying we've fine, thanks, Kennel, we've heard about that, the fact of the containers, let me use parked alongside each other, we've heard about that. Now tell us about the rest of the space.
The machinery also was moving,
Where exactly was the machinery moving?
picking up containers from the other side of the depot, and there were also other people conducting inspections.
But in relation to the space that you wanted, you would otherwise have used, where was the machinery moving?
Next to the containers.
Where's next?
I don't understand, sir, if you say where's next.
There's behind, there are sides, there's everything else. You were there, you know it better
Behind
than
and
I.
in front of the containers.
I think Commissioner Kumalo is going to try and
Maybe why don't
clarity
you,
for us.
why don't you please put up that picture we saw yesterday where we have a few containers alongside each other?
Just while they are checking that, where are the photos of the scene that you took?
I forwarded all the photos to Colonel Jacobs. He printed the photos and then put them in the inquiry file.
Now, you see the pictures?
Yes, I can
Kenneth,
see the
you
picture.
see the pictures?
I can see the picture, Chair.
Yeah. Would the one that, or was the one you were to search, was it somewhere in the middle or was it to the side?
I don't recall, Chair.
Okay. Now, if you are able to, looking at this picture, where would the machinery, or where was the machinery moving?
You know, Chair, when you're looking at that picture, the machinery will be moving in front to the other side of the container.
That side, that is
In
opposite where the doors are.
In
When you
front,
say
of the, in front of the door, then we'll be moving to that other side.
right across
The
where
front
the
of
doors
picture,
are.
Yes.
And how far would that be from the container itself, or how far was that from the container itself? Or how far was the machinery from the containers or the doors of the containers?
If the machinery is supposed to leave,
And please estimate in meters. I'm sure as a police officer you are able to do that.
I'm trying to respond, Chair.
I'm sorry if I sounded impatient, sorry.
Yeah. So I'm saying, Chair, if the machinery is about to pick up the container, it will come very close to the container. But if it's moving in front of the container to lift other containers on the side, maybe it can have a distance.
Oh, so you are saying the containers that were with the one you wanted to search, some of them were being moved as you were there. Some of those that were already lined up together with the one you wanted to search. You are saying some of those were being moved as you were there, wanting to conduct the search.
Not necessarily the ones that were next to the one that we were about to search, but the movement of the machinery was happening there, Chair.
In that case, I don't understand the relevance then of, rather, I don't understand why you would refer to these, the machinery in relation to these containers. I don't understand. If they were moving other containers, not the ones alongside the one you wanted to search.
They were moving other containers, passing the ones that we were interested in searching.
Coming to pick up the one they wanted to, the one that was to be moved, or the ones that were to be moved, or coming from and already carrying the container. We're trying to get a picture of the impediments or hindrances. And right now, you've not explained this in a manner that we understand. Let me tell you what we were told by Colonel Jacob. We did not want upfront to tell you because I thought maybe your explanation would tie in with what he told us. The only hindrance in terms of movement that he told us about was that there was movement behind you, 2 meters behind you. He never said anything that suggests that there was movement of machinery right next to the containers, with containers being picked up. Well, maybe he did not necessarily mean that containers were not being picked up, but he said this was behind you, 2 meters from the containers. Would you confirm that that was so, or that he is, or would you rather say he is mistaken?
Chair, for me, I saw some of the machinery moving in front of the containers.
I want you to just confirm or dispute what I've just put to you, which is what he said. That is, there was movement behind you as you are facing the containers, and that this was 2 meters from the doors of the containers.
Thank you for...
So you are between the movement and the doors of the containers.
Thank you for clarifying that now.
Would
When
you
we are facing the container,
Yes.
I was thinking of the back of the container.
No.
Okay.
So would you confirm that?
Yes, sir.
That was the case.
That was the case.
All right. Well, thank you.
I think for the record, it's very important, Advocate Skakane, to be fair to this witness. And I know Advocate Sillo is sitting next to you. She can confirm if I'm correct or not. The photo we are looking at is not... It's the one of the 1,000 kg bust a month later. So this scene is not the scene where the CDH depot incident in June happened.
Commissioner Khumalo, I confirm it was pulled up yesterday and for demonstration purposes to deal with the point Colonel Jacob was making about what he meant by the sides of the container. That definitely I confirm does not relate to this particular seizure.
I was looking at his facial expression.
Of course, he didn't recognize
And
that.
his
scene at
facial
all.
expression was, they are tricking me. This can't be the container. So I
Just
have
for
to be
the
fair to him.
demonstrative
Apologies.
purposes. Yes.
No,
Apologies.
thank you very much, Chair, because even those containers, they are not stacked. That is why I'm wondering now, where did you get this picture?
Apologies, Colonel, because I'm the one who asked for this to be put up. I should have said it's purely for illustrative purposes. I apologize.
Advocate Silo, while we are on this point, I think it's important that Colonel Jacob provides those photos that the Colonel says were taken and given to him, and they were filed somewhere. Because some of the explanations he has given will require that we look at those photos.
We have two options. There are photos of the scene regarding this particular seizure in the files, but I don't seem to recall a photograph that depicts precisely what the Colonel is saying. The best we can do for now is to go into the investigation files and the inquiry files. Those are our formal source documents to see if we can extract all the pictures available there. If not, then we'll have to turn to Colonel Jacob and request him to provide such photographs as have not been submitted through the inquiry file or the investigation docket.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The transcription does not capture the facial expression, but you should have seen it, and that bothered me.
So it could always draw the expression in the transcript. Thank you, Commissioner.
So in addition to apologizing to the Colonel for the confusion, I should thank my co-commissioner, Commissioner Khumalo.
Can I then go back to my question? Now that the confusion has been cleared, that the doors of the container are open, you are facing the container, the space. You're not inside the container, you're outside the container. My question was, if the machinery, there was no machinery there that was operating, and maybe let me amend it so that it's clearer maybe what I'm asking, that if you had cordoned off an area that prevented machinery from moving in front of there, is there a reason why you wouldn't have been able to inspect the drugs there at the scene, at the depot?
I think, Commissioner, considering the magnitude of the bags and the space required for the bags, still we were not going to be able.
So the reference to machinery as a factor is completely irrelevant then. It has to be irrelevant for this, for the purpose of my discussion with you and the answer that you are giving, that in fact, movement of machinery is irrelevant, of no consequence, because geographically there was no space to deal with that number of bags.
It's not
on the spot.
So sorry, Chair. It's not irrelevant because it's one of the factors that caused us to move that caused Kenny Jacob to move the crime scene.
The reason I'm saying it's irrelevant is if I accept your answer as your explanation of that space, I'm saying it wouldn't matter that there was machinery or not, because on your version, the space anyway wasn't there for you to do this search there and then, where you in front of the container. It sounds to me like it has to be like that, if the space is indeed what you're saying.
Yes.
Right? So geographically, that space was impossible in front of the container, anywhere in front of the container. The space was so limited that even without machinery moving up and down, which somehow was able to move up and down, but even without that machinery, you could not have conducted the search in front of the container.
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Just to follow up on, we'll get to the discussion. So the container is moved, right? So you're saying at the time when you open the container and you remove the exhibits or the bags, and I think the point, your version is that you couldn't process the scene because of we'll get to the details. Now, I'm trying to understand whether you as the police, was it not a possibility that you could cordon off the scene, stop these other machines that were being driven around, so that you make sure that you do the job? Because in some instances, that's what happens in crime scenes.
Yes.
Was it not a possibility?
It was a possibility, Chair.
And do you know, and your version was, do you still maintain the version that you couldn't?
It was a possibility to cordon off the whole area and close it down. It was a possibility to close the area so that we were able to operate. But it would have meant that even though those containers that were close to this container that we were intending to search, they would have been also to have to be moved so that we can have enough space to work.
Yes, I'm just saying that it's a possibility that could have happened.
Yes.
In a scene.
Yes, it could have happened.
Okay. And I just want to understand, because what we're dealing with is 27 bags. And what I find difficult, can I just ask when we went to when you went to Ispingo, these bags were laid at the parking lot.
Yes.
Now, would you say that parking lot, this is now where, I want you to compare the two scenes. I wouldn't, it's not a crime scene, but just the areas. Obviously, in a parking lot, again, there's movement. Correct?
There is movement, but very minimal.
Sure.
And it's at the police station.
It's at the police station.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that, but there is movement. It's a busy police station, I would imagine. It's a police station.
Yes, a police station.
Correct. But you were able to sort of isolate where you were working.
Yes.
Okay. Can I just request us to flight one of the pictures at page 516 of the exhibit bundle?
Kakani, in our files, it will be what file?
It should be file 2.
CJC?
CJC 242. But I'm interested in pages 516 onwards. Are you there, Commissioner Baloyi? So I want us to, unless there's other bags, in your understanding, were those the bags that were found in the container?
Yes. Chair, these were the bags that were found.
My difficulty is that they seem to have fitted there in a single parking bay.
It's not a single parking bay.
Okay?
It looks like
Please,
two.
please speak up, please speak up.
It's two parking bays.
Oh, is it 2? Okay, anyway, let's give it 2, it's fine. But wouldn't that space, you wouldn't have found that space in the depot?
Straightly,
We wouldn't find it.
straightly. It's not the whole of the second parking bay, though. They're straddling the line separating the two parking bays, or not?
Yeah. Remember, Chair, we were still going to take out exhibits from inside the bag and place them on the side, do the counting on the side. So we needed a little bit more space to do that. And the security also, because while we were there at the depot, once people got to know what it is, there are drugs found, they started coming close.
Yeah, we'll go to that. Yeah. My point is, when to offload the impression is that you couldn't place these, let's say, the bags, or unless I'm wrong, you could place these bags within the depot. Yes. What was, according to you, a difficulty is when you open these bags.
Yeah, start with the counting.
And starting the counting.
Placing them out of the bags.
And obviously what you would say, your version would be that at the parking lot.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority and a due date to keep things on track. I create custom statuses to organize my progress exactly how I want it. I like to add the action items field so AI can show me the next steps. I add my teammates as watchers so they're in the loop. ClickUp makes work easy, from personal projects to running a multi-billion-dollar company. Click the link below to create your workspace for free.
Because on the seizure of that 999, their initial report when they said they have recovered 1,000 bricks. When they recounted now, it was 999. So when you are dealing with such, you need to be sure, because there'll be a whole lot of allegations to say, if you give the initial number, and then now when you recount, it's another number. You must be very careful when you are dealing with such.
Okay. Can I then take you to page 518 of the same exhibit? Now, it seems that
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just waiting for them to flight it. Yes, so it seems that still, when they opened the bags,
Yes.
right, you were still within those two cars at the very least.
But we are also advancing front towards the road.
Also, be
That is
towards
why
the road.
That is why you see the bags now are placed on the side. And even here on the bottom of the, you can see some.
Some of them are under the police van.
Yeah. Not,
And were those empty under the police van? So
even these ones here at the bottom, you can see what there were bags there.
Okay, now I want to understand something then. Those bags, were they still full, or the exhibits were offloaded from the bags totally?
All the exhibits were offloaded now.
Okay, so what my issue is that was still within those two cars,
Yes.
right? And it doesn't seem to at least be beyond those cars, the front bumpers or anything.
Remember, we moved the bags to the front of the parking. Then we started opening a bag, placing exhibit there, then going like that until we finish offloading all the bags.
Okay. Maybe my point, let me put my point and then it will go back to the security at the depot. Would you still feel that this exercise that is there at this page couldn't have been done at the depot at the time?
I had already said that if we were going to close shop,
Yes.
it was going to be
It was
done.
going to be
It was going to be done if we were to close shop now, meaning that cordon off the whole area next to the container. We're going to do it.
All right. Then let's go back to the depot. Right. One of the, and I don't want, so you, earlier on your statement, you say the decision not to cordon off was not made by yourself. It was made by established that you didn't question why he doesn't cordon off the scene. And did you engage him about that?
You comply and complain later. And it remains like that. It don't change. In the police, if your commander says, this is the decision I'm taking, you cannot challenge your commander.
So no matter how unlawful that decision is, or no matter how difficult it is for you, you can't say, I don't want to participate in this.
No, Chair, obviously you cannot take an unlawful instruction.
Okay.
But if the commander says, my decision is for us to move and process this exhibit at the CP or SAPS, I cannot come and say, no, why are we going there? Why are we not doing it here? It's his decision. He's responsible for it. Then he will need to explain why did he take that decision.
I think we had that debate, I think you had with the chair, for example, about the instruction note and what needs to happen. And I think we had agreed, I thought we had agreed that, you know, you shouldn't follow an unlawful instruction. It was from that context that I was asking, but I'll move on. I'll have my view. Then on the presence, on the security. Now, one of the factors that you highlight in your statement in
Paragraph.
in agreeing with Colonel Jacobs is the security. You just mentioned that there were a lot of people, right? Could you just elaborate on that for me? And that's one of the things we want to understand is you say that in paragraph 9, sorry, just to locate you. You say there was management of the depot, right?
Yes.
How many people were from that, from management?
I don't recall. But when they came, when Ken Jacob came with the lady, they were not only traveling, the three of them. They had other people also who were there.
Okay, so you don't recall the numbers?
I don't recall the number.
Okay. The DPCI members?
It was the three of us.
Or it's just the three of you? And then there's Captain Duma?
Yes.
And then you also mentioned ORS members. How many were those?
You know, I had said I had not made notes. But while we were processing the crime scene, I saw ORS members. I don't know whether maybe it was during or after. Sorry, Chair.
Please proceed.
I'm saying, I don't know whether it was during or after the seal has been broken, but I saw ORS members. I also saw people wearing reflectors from customs.
Can I just ask a question related to what Colonel has just said? Colonel, if you were not taking notes on the day, for the purposes of preparing your affidavit in the commission and in the investigation relating to the disappearance of the cocaine, where did you get those facts that you put in your affidavit if you did not have notes or you did not take notes on the day? Because your affidavit seems to be detailed in terms of the sequence of events. So where did you get that information that made its way to your affidavit if you did not take notes on the day?
Remember, Chair, that I had already submitted 2 affidavits in 2022.
Yes, those are the affidavits I'm asking about. Where did you get that information that you put in the 2022
some of the
affidavit?
things.
Please, Colonel, don't speak while someone else is still speaking. We will have problems with the transcription.
I'm so sorry about that, Chair.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
I'm asking about the 2022 affidavit.
Yes.
Because you did not have or you did not take notes in June 2021 when you were at the scene. So for the purposes of preparing your very first affidavit,
Yes.
where did you get that information that you set out in that affidavit?
Chair, remember that I was taking photos. I had photos of the container numbers, photos that I had taken of the people that were there. Some of them you could see them in those photos.
I thought you had given the photos to Colonel Jacobs by then.
I sent the photos via WhatsApp. I had some of the photos still in my phone.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. You said you relied on the photos.
I relied on the photos, yes.
Okay. Now, just to locate, in terms of the detail that you had, that was memory and the photos.
Yes, because the affidavit that I deposed was in January 5, if I'm not mistaken, 2022.
maybe let me assist you. If you go to CJC 244, it should be file 2 of the exhibit bundle.
244.
Yes, 244.
Yeah.
And
244 page.
Your affidavit there in the inquiry is at page 633.
633. Yeah, I'm almost there. Yes, I'm there, Chair.
Okay. So, in terms of these details that are contained, you would have relied on what your memory is.
Yes.
Let me give you an example. Look at 635, paragraph 14.
Paragraph 14.
Yeah. Those SAP numbers, SAP 13 details, the inquiry file numbers, all of those things. Where would you have got that detail from?
From the inquiry, before it was taken.
So you would have gone back to the inquiry?
Yes.
And also what is the document that gets signed by Warrant Officer Mpangase, or that he completes?
The SAP 13 copies also.
But the diary also, is it called the diary or what?
Which one?
Investigation diary.
No, I got this. I think you are asking me, Chair, that where did I get the 13 numbers?
Yes, so because this is the 24th, I remember you went with him at some point, you went to Port Shepstone.
I think in my pocketbook.
In your pocketbook,
In
so
your-
this
on
is
the
where you got the
24th, yeah.
information.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
it. I got it there.
No, now I got you, thank you.
All right.
And I think, Commissioner Baloyi, maybe let me not implicate you any further. In terms of the,
Sorry, Mr. Skaskan, you're not a witness.
in terms of, you said it's in your pocketbook, pocket diary?
Yeah.
Okay. And I just wanted to confirm whether we could be able to get that if we needed to.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. And in terms of the information that is contained in your statement to the Commission, did you rely on, let not say obviously, on this statement?
Most of it comes from these two affidavits that I deposed. This one and the further statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just test something before we forget about it? In your statement, and I think in your testimony now, you said earlier, when I say now, I mean as you're sitting there, you said earlier that when you got to the depot, Colonel Jacob went to the office.
Yes.
And then came back with the manager.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. But the manager in her affidavit says that you, Colonel Jacob, Duma, Mpangase, approached her together.
No, that's incorrect.
Is she incorrect in saying that?
It's incorrect. I never went to the office we were standing in the parking. It's only the two that went to the offices.
Okay. Duma and Jacob.
Yes.
And they brought her to you, to
They
where you
came-
were.
Yeah, they came to us.
All right.
Perhaps-
Can I also, sorry, and I do apologize if you were going to go there already, but it's about this discussion that you've just had with Commissioner Kumalo about how you collect, how you remembered the stuff that you're saying in the affidavit. One of the things you say here is at the depot, you describe who was there, right? In your paragraph 9, when the seal was broken, you say it was depot management, DPCI members, Captain Duma, ORS members, and depot security members. You say that. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I think when you were now speaking, you said you don't remember whether the ORS people were there before or after the seal was broken. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
You now don't remember.
Come again, Chair.
You don't, when you testified now, you said you don't remember whether the ORS people arrived before or after the seal was broken.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
ORS people, they came after the seal was broken.
And then why do you, in your statement at paragraph 9, say they were there when the seal was broken? And I ask you this because Colonel Jacob said exactly the same thing until he was asked questions and his position altered. But you signed this statement. You've told us it's a recent statement. You say they were there. I'm just trying to remember what date we said. You said it was signed on the 1st of June, 26. And then on the 5th of June, you are testifying, you say something different from, in fact, you're now uncertain, when on the 1st of June, you were very certain that the ORS people were there when the seal was broken.
You know, Chair, what makes me remember that it was after the seal was broken was the fact that they were requested by Colonel Jacobs to assist. After we've inspected the container and we saw there were drugs. That is why I'm sure. I'm saying, I made a mistake by saying they were there before the seal was broken.
So until the 1st of June, which is on Monday, this past Monday, yes, your recollection was that they were there when the seal was broken. What has happened between the 1st of June and today when you testify on the 5th that now triggered your memory that, oh, they were not there when the seal was broken? Is it the evidence of Jacob?
No, Chair. It's the interactions that we are having now, and also my recollection is coming back now. Hence, I'm saying, what makes me to remember is the fact that they were requested after for assistance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. While we're still there, just two questions, I think, just to check. In terms of did you know of so we know the management, the names of the people within ORS, do you know them, their names? Can you get them, and the depot security members?
Do you mean, do I know the names of the members of SAPS, ORS?
Yes, their identities. Or if, for example, their names would be given to you, they would trigger your memory, or you did not?
I did not know them before this day. I knew them after.
Before we move off, I'm sorry. Before we move off from my topic, in your first statement, you, in addition to ORS people, you said there were customs officials. Why did you say that? And this was your first statement, so this would still have been kind of fresh. It's January 2022. Why did you say there was customs officials?
It's because, Chair, when we were at the crime scene, I saw people wearing customs uniform.
And then why is it not in your statement before the commission that you filed on Monday?
It's not there.
Well, the paragraph that I've read doesn't
Paragraph
mention.
9.
Yeah.
I think, Chair, that maybe it might be a typo error, but I know what I saw people from customs.
Well, there were no customs officials. There was a company, a depot custom liaison person, according to Colonel Jacob, when he's in the witness box. In his statement, like you, in his statement, he said there was customs officials. And then when we were engaging him about why would customs officials be there, he then said, oh, actually it was customs liaison.
Chair, I saw people who were wearing reflector jackets with customs here.
You see, the concern, and maybe let me put to you what my concern is. My concern is that you and Colonel Jacobs, your statements are the same on this issue. We're still talking on just this issue. They're exactly the same, even the mistakes. You know, they are typically, you've heard stories about students copying from each other, and then when they get caught out, they find even the misspellings are exactly that. You've done exactly that. You've looked at each other's statements, that's what it looks like, and you repeat what the one has said in their statements. Either you were looking at his statement, that's the impression it gives, right? Either you were looking at his statement, or you sat down and discussed with him what goes into his statement. That's the problem that I have with what you are now seeking to explain away as recent recollections about matters that when this was fresh in your mind in already January 2022, you say exactly what he said, which is wrong. And then when you come here, in your statement, you've repeated some of it. You say it's a typo, I didn't include customs. And then when I say to you, no, there was customs, you give exactly the answer he gave, which is, I saw people wearing uniform and I thought they were customs. That's one. Two, oh, I'm mistaken about ORS, actually, yes. And that he admits when we say, well, ORS governor has filed a statement that says they only came in there to give you a lift with your luggage. And he said, yeah, then I'm mistaken. But that's exactly what you're doing. So I sit here with the impression that you either copied his statement or you sat down and agreed what you were going to put in your statements on this issue. Please disabuse me of that impression if you can.
Chair, I never copied his statement. He never copied my statement. Obviously, I report to Colonel Jacob as a unit commander. Now and then we'll have discussions, not to say we are telling each other what to write in your affidavit. No. We might have had discussions about the very same issue, but it was not for the purposes of deposing an affidavit.
So one possible explanation from what you're saying is this common mistake of the two of you that you both now correct in the witness stand may be a result of the discussion that you normally have, and you might have discussed this, and that's where it came from.
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you.
I just want, you'll correct me if I'm too blunt. I just want to follow up on what you're saying, and it will, you'll warn me if I'm offline. I just wanted to ask whether between June or July of 2021 up to the 1st of June 2026, did Colonel Jacob sought to influence you in any fashion about the statement?
No.
Thank you. Then let's go back to your statement. Paragraph 9, we're still at paragraph 9. So on your version, you don't have the identities of the people that were there, but you have an idea that it was these people. In terms of, ORS members, depot security members,
They were also,
when the seal was being broken.
please repeat your question again.
Now I'm saying you don't have details of these people, like the names and all of this, for example, ORS members and the security members and the management of the depot.
I did not have details as I was not an investigating officer. Normally, an investigating officer will acquire all the details of the people who are at the crime scene, so that in future, if he requires statements from them, he can be able to contact them to obtain those statements. So I saw these people that I'm mentioning here are people that I saw, but these were not the only people who were there when the container was open, when the container was open and when the exhibit were loaded into the vehicle.
Okay. So that would be what Colonel Jacob says in terms of details.
I'm not getting you.
No, I'm saying, you're saying that would be in the possession of the investigating person.
Normally at the crime scene,
Yes.
the investigating officer identify the possible witnesses and acquire their contact details and everybody who's there, so that if he requires statement, he's able to contact those people to depose the affidavit.
Okay. No, that's fine. Let's move to your paragraph 10. I think part of it we've covered about the area of work, right? And where you say the space was limited and all of this. Earlier on, you also indicated that the space was becoming crowded. When you say crowded, were there any other, who came other than the members that you now have, other than the persons that we've dealt with, right? Were there any other members, either those ones driving the forklifts around or the equipment that were now coming to the area?
There were a lot of people. Some of them, they were wearing overalls. And that is why we are saying that the place became crowded, because there is just a lot of people gathered wanting to see what was seized.
And is it the version that there was no control up around that? There was not even an attempt to cordon off or limit the interaction?
There was no attempt to cordon off.
Okay. And then you said, then Jacob gave you the instruction that you must take pictures.
The instruction to take pictures was given to me before the seal was broken, because I got the photos of the seal before it was broken. So,
And this, you were supposed to use your phone?
I was using my phone, yes.
Okay. And he was also using his phone?
Not my phone, a state phone.
A state phone?
Yes.
Okay. And obviously, I think you had some debate about calling LCRC and those that are supposed to be the ones that take photographs, right? And those photographs, I think you said they were submitted.
I forwarded all the photographs to Colonel Jacobs, who was then the investigator. after the inquiry was moved from Bangase to Kenneth Jacobs, he printed the photos that he needed to put in the inquiry.
Then from a security perspective, just before we move to the other point, is that one of the issues is that the worry, I think yesterday with Colonel Jacob, was that there could be some invasion or some sort of attack and all of this when you remained at the scene, or at the scene. Do you share his view?
I never thought of that.
You never thought of that security point?
I only noticed a whole lot of people very close to the container. And I also felt very uncomfortable with such exhibit, with quite a number of people. The invasion,
You're speaking too softly, Colonel.
I'm so sorry, Chair.
Colonel, just make sure that the people seated at the back there can hear you, because I've just received a complaint now that they cannot hear you. So don't just address Advocate Sekakane, address all of us.
I'm sorry about that, Chair.
No, that's fine.
I'll try and speak louder.
Okay.
Thank you. So your issue was not necessarily that there could be an attack or anything like that as you process the scene. Your main consideration is that there is now a lot of people that are coming on. So you don't find any issue with moving the exhibit elsewhere.
I think I'm going to respond that now. I'm a part of SANAP, and when you go to the hub to seize these drugs, you don't know who was supposed to take out this consignment firstly. So when you are there, you need to ensure that your safety comes first. And secondly, the safety of the exhibit. That is always at the back of your mind. So when you make decisions, you're always thinking and looking at your safety. Considering the fact that we were only 4 members, if I'm counting Doma.
But, okay, so are you now saying you also considered safety or security at the time?
I did.
Okay.
In my mind, but it
No, I'm saying then.
Then in my mind, it came across my mind.
Then, okay.
But it was not important because I was not in charge. So I'm just talking on how I was looking at things and thinking to myself, because I made no contribution to the decision.
And obviously to Colonel Jacobs, who was in charge, if that was his consideration, would you agree with a proposition that you could have called for backup, as it later turned out that you then got help when you were transporting the exhibit?
Yes.
Okay, Colonel, just to check that the 3 of you were not going to the depot to fetch drugs, you were actually going to conduct a drug bust. Were you armed? Did you take protective measures, the 3 of you, before going to the depot? Did you have weapons with you?
I think, Chair, the statement that you are saying that we were not going to fetch drugs, it's a very unfortunate statement, Chair.
That's why I'm giving alternatives, just to check that that's not what you were doing. My question is, were you armed? Did you have weapons with you?
Yeah, but such statement, because we are mandated to do these things as the DPCI.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm always armed when I'm at work.
So my question is, on the day, the 3 of you, were you armed?
Yes, I was armed. I cannot comment on behalf of others, Chair, but I was armed.
But you were with them. Do you know if they were armed?
Yes, they were armed.
Okay, so you had taken protective measures on your way to the depot.
Yes.
And the reason I'm asking you this is because of what you raised, that your first priority is safety, because you don't know who is also going there to collect the same drugs. So you would take protective measures just in case you are ambushed by people who are also there for different reasons than the reasons you are there for. So I'm establishing those facts. I'm not making findings at this stage. So please don't assume that when I test or I make propositions, is to find out what the facts were. It's not as if the commission has decided that you were there to fetch the drugs. I hope you understand that.
We fetched the drugs, we took them to the ACP-13 at TCP. We booked them at Potchefstroom. We were instructed to take them to Potchefstroom. We did that,
No,
Chair.
but there's a difference between going to conduct a drug bust because you're suspecting that drugs have been brought into the country illegally. And another scenario is you know that there's cocaine there, you are just going there to pick it up. That's why I was clarifying that there are different scenarios, and I wanted you to tell us which scenario applied.
To me, I had never even met Captain Duma.
Yes.
I was just informed by Mpangas requesting assistance. Then I gladly said, no, let's go. Then I went. When I got to his CSC depot, there are drugs. That's it. So we were going there to work. Hence, even our superiors were contacted and they were informed that we are going there.
In the book at the police station where you work, I'm assuming that when you were told that you must go to this drug bust, there is a document that you complete to say where you are going, what's the operation, for what purpose. Is there such a document?
Only now I know of such a document, an operational plan, but then I don't recall it was existing at that time.
Was there a drill that morning? What happened around 7:20 that morning when you were at your station where you worked in Durban and you were called to say you must go and assist in a drug bust? Isn't there a document that you complete?
No. No, I don't know of such a document. You report to your immediate commander of all the activities that you are about to partake. So you just inform him.
And you do that before you go or when you come back?
Before you go.
So on the
or
day,
after food, you can do it also after you come back. But in this instance, I went to Captain Majola's office, who was acting because Colonel Jacob was on leave.
Yes.
And then Captain Majola's office was locked, but I contacted him. Hence, he allowed me to assist again on the 23rd and on the 24th.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that because we were looking for that name at some point. We didn't have it. So I'm glad that you have now clarified that point.
He is retired now.
No, we can still find him. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can even find him for you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Skakan.
Thank you. So to follow up on what Commissioner Kumalo is saying, is that you sought permission on, I just want to ground off this point, because also I didn't see it in your affidavit unless I'm mistaken, of that you sought permission from your immediate commander.
I informed him to say